Hey guys, Adam here from DirectionTrader.com. Let's do today's recap and talk about what we see moving forward. There's about 20 minutes left in the U.S. session here, going on about 2:40 here Central Standard Time. Let's go ahead and we'll start off here with the S&P and the Russell, and then we'll move over to crude and talk about what's happened today. We've been talking, here. Let me go down here and actually pull up a daily chart, and we'll start from there. So, all right, here we go. Here's a daily chart, guys, of the S&P 500. Yesterday, we drew in these fibs, and we started talking about some of these fibs and where we see the market potentially stopping at. Let me get rid of that. Where we see this market potentially stopping at, where we think we can get a bounce from. So we drew in these fibs from this most recent anchor low and the farther extended anchor low and took them up to the highs here to see if we could find some price clusters. And we found a couple different levels. We see the 38 of the full swing, and then we see the 50 here of the smaller swing. They both came in at pretty much the same price, and that happened to be where our lows were yesterday. See right in there. So we had that fib cluster, and then we also had the 50% of the full swing and the 61.8 of the smaller swing. That price was at the same level. So we were looking for one of these two levels for the market to actually get a pop from. Yesterday, the video, I stressed watching the market into the close. If we were getting a pop or a rally to the upside into the close, I was going to be very confident in seeing today's market continuing to get that rally. So if we go over here, let's just go ahead and let's refresh ourselves. Go to the 15-minute chart and look at what exactly happened yesterday into the close. You will see we actually did get that nice little rally here into the close here. See, we had this nice little pop here into the close, and then obviously we opened up a little bit down tomorrow or today, but that also just continued that upside momentum. That buying that we had off of these lows just went ahead and rolled into today's trading, and here we are. So being that we are in such a bullish move here, we found that support here on the daily chart. Remember that them daily levels we found here, we're at them lows on the daily chart here, that fib cluster. I do see some potential for some upside opportunity here going into the remainder of this week, going into tomorrow. Seeing if we can get a pop up here. First test I want to see here is a test of this 21 exponential moving average. We're going to look at Russell here in a minute. Russell actually hit that today. Russell was definitely the big guy of the four today. Had a nice up day, actually above yesterday's trading range. As you see today, the S&P is trading inside of its trading range, so more of an inside day here on the S&P. The Russell's trading a little higher. But what I'm going to pay attention to is the fact that we bounce off these lows. If we open up tomorrow and we see some further upside buying on a 5 and 15-minute anchor chart, so we start to see higher lows and higher highs, I'm going to look for upside opportunities on the S&P up until we test that fallen 21 period moving average. Then I'll probably sit on my hands a little bit and kind of see if this thing wants to push on through for another push higher, or we start to roll over. But that's for down the road. Going into tomorrow, if we have some of that push to the upside on my anchor charts, my 5 and 15-minute charts, I will start looking to the upside. If this thing clearly wants to break these lows, I will look to short it down towards our next level of these Fibonacci clusters. So that's the S&P. Let's go ahead and take a quick gander here at the Russell. We've kind of talked about it already. This here is the daily chart of the Russell. You see these lows? We were very actively trading these lows back in February and April and May, and every single time it came down here, we were just trying to get these buy opportunities off this level, and sure enough, it worked out wonderfully. We haven't yet had that little bounce here off of this level yet this time, so we're just now starting to get it. So we found a little bit of support in here. We kind of teetered our head down below it, but nonetheless, we're just waiting and sure enough, bam, we got a little pop here. We're testing that 21 period moving average, that basically that resistance that we were wanting to pop up and test. We're testing it right now on the Russell. So tomorrow, if we open up and we're able to open up stronger and get above today's highs, I'm going to look for long opportunities. If the markets start to roll over, and it looks like we're going to start rolling over, make sure your 5 and 15-minute anchor charts, or whatever anchor charts you use, it doesn't matter, make sure they're starting to push to the downside and they get their moving averages on top of them. That way, whenever you get these pullbacks, at least it has some resistance to help it roll over, because you're going to have a lot of support in here from this basically this week-long range here that we had, 4 or 5 trading sessions here, where there's going to be a lot of support here, and there's going to be a lot of people who are buying right now who are going to want to protect their positions. So be very, very careful to the downside on this particular instrument, unless you get all the moving averages on top of you when you're using your anchor chart and you have lots and lots of resistance to help your market go ahead and push on down. But if we get above today's highs and we're continuing to push higher, trade it on up, guys. I don't think this is going to be the next crash right here, but I don't know that it's necessarily the next big move higher. I'm just looking for a short-term bounce at this moment. Once we get up and we start trading up here near the highs, then we'll start to talk about that. But right now, I am just looking for a short-term bounce, and I'm going to go ahead and play it at that. So that's it there. And then on crude, if we pull up the crude market here, crude's being very interesting. As you see here, we're down below our 618, our target that we were looking for. We had that big push down, but ever since yesterday, we got that bottoming tail hammer there yesterday. See that wick down there? So that means that it traded on down yesterday, but it ended up trading higher into the close. So that was reassuring going into today's trading. So as we went into today's trading, let's go ahead and go into a 15-minute chart here. And look what happened here. We were sitting down at these lows, just being nice and calm down here, nice and choppy with some big candle wicks up above us. So we weren't necessarily seeing a whole bunch of crazy buy-in, because you see all these big topping wicks. That's not giving us any reassurance that this market's ready to head higher just yet. But once this thing broke and it decided to start pushing, boom, big push to the upside, really big push to the upside. Now you see we're kind of a little bit of a stale right now, but it's been a very interesting run this afternoon in this crude oil market. You see we're actually trading up above the previous day's highs. That's what this green line is here, the previous day's highs. Traded above it, came back, tested it, and now we're kind of getting a bounce here. If we can get a little bit of a trickle or just kind of stay here going into tomorrow, if I pull back up the daily chart here, this kind of gives us that idea that we can get back up towards that 21 EMA, that level we like to see these things retrace back to. You see, anytime you get extended away, it comes back to that 21. Extended, comes back. Extended, comes back, and so on and so forth. So I am looking for this thing to get somewhat of a pop. So I'm not necessarily long-term bullish on crude, but just like the S&P and the stock index futures, I am short-term bullish on them. I am looking for them to get a bounce over the next week or so, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 1 week. I don't really know, but I feel like they're going to get a bounce from here. So I've been continuing to look to trade them in that fashion over the last few days. So we're finally getting them pops. Yesterday showed us a little bit of sign of life with that little rally into the close. We talked about that in yesterday's video, watching that rally into the close, and that carries over to the next day, in which today we had nice upside moves in each one of the markets. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, go ahead and email me, adam@directiontrader.com. If not, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.